You know, this is a movie you don't see on TV very often, mainly because there's some controversy, not about the content, but a lot of critics and film noir historians believe this is the first true film noir on celluloid. Although there were radio plays and different shows of that genre of differentiating length, what I call the 1930s radio, this is considered the first that had all the film noir tropes, investigative, mystery, and it's called Stranger on the Third Floor. Now, this American film noir was directed by Boris Inkster and starred, get this, Peter Lorre, 9 years after M, John Maguire, Margaret Talichet, and Charles Waldron, and featuring film noir staple Elijah Cook Jr. Written by Frank Partos, modern research has shown that Nathaniel West wrote the final version of the screenplay, but was uncredited. Now, Strangers on the Third Floor is often cited as the first true film noir of the golden or classic period from 1940 to 59. I've seen over 300 movies from that era, and they're all beautiful in their presentation. Though other films that fit the genre, such as Rebecca and The Drive by Night, were released earlier, but this is considered the blueprint. Nonetheless, it has many of the hallmarks of film noir: an urban setting, heavy shadows, diagonal lines, the German expressionism, of course, voiceover narration, a dream sequence, low camera angles shooting up multi-story staircases, and an innocent protagonist desperate to clear himself after being falsely accused of a crime. And of course, you have the dangerous woman involved. Now, in this one, reporter Michael Ward is the key witness in a murder trial. His evidence that he saw the accused Joe Briggs standing over the body of a man in a diner is instrumental in having Briggs found guilty. Afterwards, Ward's fiancée Jane begins worrying that Ward may have not been correct in what he saw. Eventually, Ward becomes haunted by this question. One evening, outside of his room in the house where he lives, he sees an odd-looking stranger. He chases the man down the stairs and out the front door, where Ward loses track of him. He feels that his neighbor, a man he hates, may have been killed by the stranger. Ward has a terrifying dream in which a neighbor is indeed murdered, and he comes under suspicion. It turns out the neighbor was killed the same way as the man in the diner. Ward finds the body, notifies police, and points out the similarities in the two murders. He is arrested, and in order to clear him, Jane sets out to find the strange man. So, again, screenplay by Frank Partos and Nathaniel West, a story by Partos, produced by Lee Marcus, and, of course, Peter Lorre as the unofficial lead. Cinematography by Nicholas Musaraka, edited by Harry Marker, did a great job here, and it was an RKO movie. Now, the budget was big for RKO, 171 minutes, and there's different versions that came out in August 1940 of 62 to 67 minutes. Now, Margaret Talichet, who played Jane, married film director William Wyler on October 23rd, 1938, at the home of actor Walter Huston, and continued to make films, including Strangers on the Third Floor in 1940. She made 2 more films before retiring from acting. Now, Stranger on the Third Floor was Inkster's directorial debut. Born in Latvia, he was formerly a writer and associate of noted Russian director Sergei Eisenstein. Inkster would later become a TV producer, and he directed only 3 feature films in his career. In the introduction to the CCM Movies Noir Alley presentation of the film, Eddie Muller compared the style of the film to that of German Expressionism. Jeremy Arnold writes that the film's extraordinary look and tone are the product of stylized sets, bizarre angles and lighting, and a powerful blurring of dream and reality. Quality strongly influenced by German Expressionist films of the 1920s. Robert Portofino called it a distinct break in style and substance with the preceding mystery, crime, detection, and horror films of the 1930s. In their book King of the Bees, Todd McCarthy and Charles Flynn wrote that Stranger on the Third Floor is extremely audacious in terms of what it seeks to say about American society. The trial of the ex-con is a vicious rendering of the American legal system, hard at work on an impoverished victim. The sinister role of police and prosecutors in obtaining confessions and convictions are hallmarks of the hard-boiled literature that paralleled and predicted what would be called film noir. Now, Van Ness Paul Galeazzi, who has been called one of the most influential production designers in American cinema, was the film's art director. He had previously worked on King Kong in 33, Hunchback of Notre Dame in 39, and worked on a set for Citizen Kane. His work on Stranger on the Third Floor contributes mightily to the claustrophobic feel of the movie. Muller calls his work on this film spectacular In addition, the work of special effects artist Vernon L. Walker was excellent despite the constraints of a B-movie budget, and the score of Roy Webb, who was RKO's house composer at the time, contributed significantly to the film's mood. Now, upon its release, Bosley Crowther of the New York Times said the film was pretentious and derivative of French and Russian films, and wrote John Maguire and Margaret Talachette, as a reporter in His Girl, are permitted to act halfway normal. It is true. But in every other respect, including Peter Lorre's brief role as the Whack, it is utterly wild. The notion seems to have been that the way to put out a psychological melodrama across is to pile in the sound effects and trick up the photography. But then again, that's what film noir turned into. Now, the staff writer of Variety also believed the film was derivative and wrote the familiar artifice of placing the scribe in parallel plight, with the newspaper man arrested for 2 slayings and only clearing himself because his sweetheart's persistent search for real slayers use. Inkster's direction is too studied and when original, lacks the flair to hold attention. It's a film too arty for average audiences and too humdrum for others. Now, Dave Kerr of the Chicago Reader wrote, an arcade B film from 1940, done up in high Hollywood expressionism. It's absurdly overwrought, which was often a problem with the German Variety, but interesting for it. The director, Boris Inkster, is better with shadows than with actors. Venetian blinds carve up the characters with more fateful force than Paul Schrader's similar gambit in American Gigolo, and there's a dream sequence that has to be seen to be disbelieved. Another film reviewer, P.S. Harrison, wrote that at the film's conclusion, one feels as though one has gone through a nightmare, which was the intent of the creators. Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 86%, with an average rating of 6.6 out of 10 based on 7 professional reviews. Now, if anybody wants to read more on the movie, the Arthur Lyons 2000 book, Death on the Cheap, The Lost B Movies of Film Noir, is a good read, and also Lee Server's article, The Blacklist, Essential Film Noir, and the Big Book of Noir through a New York publisher in 1998. And again, it is what it is because you have somebody like Peter Lorre, who was a better figure in Casablanca and the Maltese later on. But the thing is about this, ladies and gentlemen, there's more going on than meets the eye. We really don't know if this is in a person's mind, and if it gives a level that he might be the killer, and the expressionism there. Now, the reason why Peter Lorre was on the show, he owed Arcade 2 more days on his contract, and was given this role with a few scenes and some lines. He received top billing largely because of the most recognizable name among the film's cast. Now, Stranger on the Third Floor, The Maltese Falcon, is often cited by film historians as the first film noir, while M is considered an important precursor to film noir. Lorre stars in all 3 films, and Alicia Cook Jr. is in the 2 American films. Now, Roy Webb later reworked some of his themes for his film Murder My Sweet. Now, not a success at the box office, it resulted in a loss to the RK of $56,000, which is nearly $1.3 million in 2024. Now, Stranger to the Third Floor, again, was a big factor in this losing money for RKO. Now, this also had the film debut of the great David Wayne as a cab driver, uncredited. Now, to core many critics, the nightmare sequence remains a stunning piece of expressionism, which only visualizes the character's paranoia, but also makes serious comments on America's imperfect justice system. There are a few better realized dream sequences out there. Now, it's considered at the time an obscure B movie, but became a precursor to film noir. Now, the film's earliest documented telecast of the movie took place in 1956 on numerous channels, and it was syndicated with some cuts. Again, modern sources also commented on the film's innovative use of low-key lighting, which I guess in certain theaters would work, but it would not be a good drive-in movie. So I've never seen the movie, but I've seen the clips because of the different film noir documentaries, and I like myself a little bit of Peter Lorre on a cold night, and that's what we're having in Canada right now. It's only, I think, 2 degrees Celsius, which is 35 Fahrenheit. But I mean, anything with Peter Lorre has got to be good, and If you can find it on TCM or different streaming, let me know what you think. So if you like film noir, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share what your favorite is, and maybe a request, we can do something. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, Alicia Cook, who was also in Blackula many years later. That was a freaky performance. The guy in the morgue gets attacked by the black female cab driving vampire. Pretty freaky. And was he in love with the fat man in Maltese Falcon? Well, we have to see. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. Like I said, a like, comment, subscribe, or share is always highly appreciated and always highly, highly thought of. Have a good one.